Well, Ascahirlik, I first of all want to welcome the Minister here this evening, and I want to welcome your own initiative in establishing sectoral debates for the various panels of the universities, and to compliment Senator Higgins on taking the initiative with this particular motion. The second thing I want to say is this, that there is considerable publicity now about the plight of postdoctoral students and the fact that they are effectively being exploited, both in terms of permanence and pay, by the universities. I want to deal with a slightly different issue, and that is the whole issue of academic independence. A huge number of people are now being employed on 5-year contracts, 3-year contracts, or whatever. And they are being employed on terms which maybe aren't well known. For instance, that they will, during the 5 years, produce, say, 3 articles in leading journals of research, in addition to their lecturing duties. And at the end of that, they aren't guaranteed anything. They can just be told thank you and good night. And that's the end of them. They're gone. Their job is just gone under current employment law. Now, this is not a new issue, because in the 1960s, when my uncle by marriage, Michael Tierney, was president of UCD, there was a huge controversy in this House on the abuse of temporary status for lecturers and its implications for academic independence. You can't really be academically independent if you're a lecturer 4 years into your term and the dean of your faculty can say, well, you may not, thank you for all your efforts, but good night. Secondly, when it was discussed here on that occasion, there was a committee of visitation appointed to the National University of Ireland to examine the use or abuse of temporary lectureships for staff and its implications for their independence. And no less a person who made a complaint at the time was John Kenny, who later he was a lecturer in UCD in the law faculty, and later became a Supreme Court judge himself. But the issue that I'm raising is this, that there are people now with life or death decisions about younger academics, imposing on them conditions of employment which they themselves don't actually and cannot comply with themselves, and did not comply with themselves to get to where they are. And they are in the position now to effectively say to somebody after 5 years service in a university, thank you, you were a very interesting member of staff and you're gone now. That's wholly wrong. And I just want to say that this needs to be considered by government. It's an abuse of people. I'm not just talking about the PhD students, I'm talking about young lecturers who are being denied tenure, being denied a career path, who are effectively in a position that they can't borrow from banks and building societies because they can be thrown on the side of the road. And the last thing I want to say is this. Because there is a manic interest, and I'm totally in favour of research, but because there's a manic interest in having international indexes complied with, people are losing sight of one thing, and that is the capacity of people to educate students. People with poor English, people with poor communication skills are getting jobs simply on the basis of their research record or potential. And, you know, if we're going to keep up standards in our university, fine. I'm fully in favour of satisfying international indices on research. But I want to make one point. University lecturers and professors and assistant professors are there to educate as well as to research. It's a combination of two skills, and nobody should be treated as badly as lecturers who are now on temporary contracts who, as I say, at the end of 5 years are treated entirely as disposable and face career-changing ends to their employment with no redress whatsoever, in circumstances where, for the last 100 years since the establishment of, and more since the establishment of NUI and Trinity, the idea of tenure and academic independence was something that the Irish state actually cherished and sought to protect. Thank you.